Hey, brothers and sisters from the Starknet ecosystem. Welcome back to the Star Cafe. This is Nur Star speaking, your personal Stark barista. And once again, we are ready to delight you with some very special Starknet content. Happy Monday, my dear friends from the Starknet ecosystem. We enter the month of July, which is going to be a very busy month for Starknet as we are approaching both ITCC and Starknet CC, which are taking place in the second half of the month. And speaking about these important conferences, today we have the pleasure to host a very talented builder who's going to be a speaker on both events. I'm talking about Paul Henry, lead contributor for the open source Starknet Lightclient Beerus and organizer at Temu, an event planning project for Web3 devs. And he also distinguished himself last March by winning the Los Angeles NFT hackathon by experimenting with with the concept of paid hashtags together with Sapiens Tech. However, enough for today's intro. Let's give him a well-deserved warm welcome. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me here.
It's very nice to have you here, Paul. I mean, it's been a while that I wanted to have you here at the Star Cafe because you constantly share a lot of good work and good vibes in our ecosystem. So I'm very glad that I managed to bring you at the cafe. And without much further ado, I'd like to ask you a bit about your background. So, Paul, how did you begin your crypto journey, and what brought you on Starknet?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my journey has been a quite long one, to be honest. I don't know. I started like a few years ago, actually. I was just really passionate with building stuff pretty young. So I started like, I don't know, around 10 or 12, like starting to try to build things just because I was really passionate about tech and other stuff like that. And then at one point, um, I started getting more interested in the crypto space around 2000, I don't know, 14, 15, and starting like mining some crypto and stuff like that. But I was pretty young at the time, and like my mother didn't want me to mine things in my house because it was too costly in terms of electricity. So she unplugged my rigs. And so I would have been very rich, but I stayed very poor because of that. So kudos to my mom for that. But no, aside the jokes, no, it's been a very very long journey, but a very nice one. I've had different lives with like I was a professional soccer player for a bit. This was the main thing of my life for many years, and then I transitioned to programming because of COVID and of different things. But yeah, and it was just my second passion. So when I stopped football, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do something that I love, which was programming. And then slowly I was building different things on different ecosystems. And I became a blockchain consultant after a few years of blockchain programming. And then after working with multiple clients, I was just frustrated on staying at the surface, building the apps and developing things that were interesting, but it was not at the protocol level. I was really interested in trying to build like the protocol of a blockchain, understanding really deeply like like what is a blockchain, how does it work, how does it provide value, how do we build them. And so I started searching for opportunities on that side, and that's how I landed actually on Starknet, trying to build the Starknet protocol, and then ended up becoming a team leader of the Starknet Light Client. So yeah, long journey, but very glad.
Great, thanks a lot, Paul. And the story about the meaning, your mining career being broken by your mom, that was very funny. We all share stories like that, and yeah, it's. I mean, it's also nice that you landed on the Starknet ecosystem. I started following you when you won the NFT hackathon back in March. Would you also like to tell me a bit about that? I mean, if you're still continuing with that project, or it was just an experiment hackathon?
Yeah. So Stan, the person I did the hackathon with is a very very good friend of mine. Actually, we met in when I was living in Bali a few months years ago, and I was doing blockchain consulting, and he has a company called Passenger, and basically he searched for some expertise in like blockchain development, so he hired me as a consultant, and I worked for his company for about 6 months. And then at one point we just met again in Los Angeles, and we heard about this hackathon of an NFT Los Angeles hackathon, and we were like, man, let's do something together. Like, and so we went together at the hackathon, and we were like actually the smallest team because we went in like really late and stuff like that. But yeah, and so basically all the teams were like 5 people, and we were we were only two, Stan and I, and so the idea was like. How can you supercharge the ecosystem for creators? So how do can you use like the blockchain infrastructure to help like creators to create more content, create better, monetize their content and stuff like that. And so basically we had this idea of creating pay tags, and the idea of pay tags is basically you create paid hashtags. So it's any brand can come and put a certain amount of money on a smart contract and select a certain number of hashtags. So let's say you have Coca-Cola, and they want to support different topics. So they want to support hashtag LGBTQ community and hashtag women in Web3, because these are two very important topics that we want to fund. So they put $10,000 on a smart contract, and then basically what we're doing, we're scraping all the social media for these hashtags. So when you use them in a post, so for example, you create a post and you use these hashtags, um, you entitle yourself to a certain amount of money, considering the amount of likes, retweets, etc. that you get on your post. So the more engagement you get on your post, so the more visibility you gave to this hashtag and to this uh, to this important value, the more money you can get. So now it means that not only the big influencers with hundreds of thousands or millions of followers can get paid for their work. Now anybody can just put a hashtag on a post, and if their post goes viral or gets some likes, they can get paid for their work, representing different brands and representing different topics that are important for society, like supporting women or LGBT communities or different things that are important. So
Awesome. What a very inspiring story, that you managed to win such a hackathon by assembling only a duo team in a very short time. And also the use case, that you just described is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing it being developed on the Paysangier app. And having said that, let's switch our focus towards the main topic of today at the Star Cafe. And before getting deeper into the Beerus Starknet Lightclient, could you explain to those who still have to grasp some technical concepts, could you explain to them what a blockchain client is and what differentiates a light client from a full node?
sure, sure, yeah, it's really really important in my opinion to understand this. And one of the problems, and that it's our work as the designers and the architectures of the blockchain, we need to make it simpler and simpler for as many people as possible to understand the blockchain infrastructure. So um, to be able to participate in the blockchain, you need to become a node of this blockchain. Why? Because basically, a blockchain is just an enormous database. It's a new way of creating databases, which is cryptographically secure. And so basically, the idea is this blockchain, this database, sorry, that we call a blockchain, is decentralized and it's distributed between different people. So instead of having an enormous data center somewhere in the world like Google, you have a lot of computers that give some power, and they are all distributed across the globe. So instead of being one big, you're millions of very small, but you have as much or even more power as a Google or other things like that. And so the idea is, how do you participate to this blockchain? How do you become a miner? How do you become a validator? How do you host this blockchain on your computer to participate on this network?
I think we lost you, Paul. Let's see if we can reconnect to it soon. In the meanwhile, that Paul comes back to the space, I would like to say thank you to all the live listeners, including Terrence, who's a very active builder in the gaming space, and is building, cartridge, a Starknet console, and he also plays a very important role in leading contributions uh, to the dojo toolchain, which is a toolchain for on-chain gaming. And we also had a Star Cafe last week, so you can find it on both the Nurstars YouTube channel or just by scrolling down a bit on the Nurstars account on Twitter. And yeah, so far, let me see if Paul is back with us. Paul. Okay, guys, let me play some music, and I'll figure out whether we manage to connect with Paul again.
Oh, did I get
Okay.
disconnected?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
You basically, yeah, I think you lost
oh
connection,
no.
and
Okay, what did I
maybe, yeah,
say?
if you could repeat a little bit.
Where was I?
Okay, I think you were describing, what a blockchain is and why we need a light client for stuff like that. Yeah, maybe just do a sum up of it, a summary of it, and we just go straight to
Okay,
Beerus.
no problem. Okay, so very quick, because I don't remember where it cut, but basically, a blockchain is an enormous database which is distributed between a lot of computers. To be able to host this and participate to this enormous database that we call a blockchain, you need to run a certain type of software on your computer that we call a client. There's different types of clients: full node, archive node, and light node on Ethereum. And a full node and an archive node is very computationally intensive. So you need a 16 gigabyte RAM computer, 4 core CPU, at least 3 terabyte of SSD. So it's over $1,000. And this is very problematic because it prevents decentralization, it prevents new actors to come in, it prevents the growth of the blockchain because it's too expensive to run. So not many people can participate. And so there's this philosophy that is created by Vitalik Buterin and other people that are very, very smart and a lot smarter than myself. And the idea is basically to create nodes that are way lighter, that you could run on a phone or on a smartwatch or on IoT, so a smart toaster, on a computer, anywhere, on a browser or anything that is very, very low in terms of computation and that doesn't store the full state of the blockchain. And so there's a technique that you use to basically not store the full state of the blockchain, but still stay secure and still be sure that the data that you have is actually valid and is the right data. So the idea is basically not everybody needs to run a full node because it's very expensive and it's really difficult to run and to maintain, but everybody can run a light client. And so the vision in the next few years is basically 90% or even more of the nodes on the Ethereum network and on Starknet and on all the innovative blockchains are going to become light nodes, and only a few subsets of the network will stay full or archive node because they have specific needs. But most of the people actually don't need such power that gives a full or archive node. So basically, that's a light client. It's an innovative client for the blockchain, which is very very light and a lot lighter than what exists. So a lot easier to run and to maintain.
I see. Uh, a very clear explanation of what a light client is and what differentiates it from a full node. And seeing that we now have a better understanding of what a light client is, we can move to the main character of today's episode, the Beerus Starknet Light Client. So, Paul, what is Beerus? How was it born? And how does it work in practice?
Yeah. So Beerus is the Starknet Light client. It was born from the head of Abdelhamid Bakta, which is the exploration lead in Starkware, and one of the, I believe, best engineers and developers of the Starknet ecosystem. He was also a core developer of Ethereum and maybe still is. He's just a very cool guy in general. And so the idea is the full state of Starknet exists on Ethereum. Why? Because Ethereum, Starknet is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. So the Starknet blockchain lives on top of Ethereum and posts all of its state on Ethereum, which means that you can reconstruct the whole state of Starknet from the Ethereum blockchain because of the infrastructure of Starknet and how it's built. Basically, uh, let's say a lot of people create transactions. It gets bundled by the sequencer. The sequencer validates the transaction and creates a block. The block is sent to the prover. The prover proves the block. The prover sends the proof to the verifier smart contract on Ethereum. If the Ethereum verifier says that it's valid, then the what we call the state difference, which means how do we go from the actual state of the blockchain to the state n plus one, to the new state of the blockchain, is sent to Ethereum and is basically kept there. So yeah, everything that so the whole Starknet blockchain is on Ethereum. So the idea is, okay, because of that, what we can do is create a light client on Starknet. And what is the use for that? It's that, and then basically this light client is Beerus in the project that we're talking about today. And the idea is we can run this light client everywhere because it's very, very light. It's written in Rust, and it's what we call WASM and no STD compatible, which means that we can run it on browsers, we can run it in IoT, so smartwatches, on phones, on cars, on smart toasters, anywhere you want. And the idea is that using this light client, you can send transactions, you can validate transaction, you can verify data, etc., etc. So you can do a lot of things that you would want to do to interact with the blockchain. And why would you want to run a light client? Because it's all about trustlessness. Because right now, let's say you use MetaMask. A big problem of MetaMask is that when you run MetaMask and you open it, what happens is that the front end of your MetaMask is sending a request that is, for example, ETH underscore get balance, and it passes your address in this function, and it sends this request to a node. But that's what we call an untrusted RPC because this node you don't know it. It's hosted by MetaMask, and and this node is gonna answer is going to verify the blockchain with the address that was passed to the function, and is going to say, oh, you have 3 Ethereum on your wallet, and is going to send that back to you. But how can you make sure that this node didn't lie to you? It's impossible, because you're actually trusting an untrusted RPC. So this node is totally capable of lying to you, which is very, very problematic, because maybe you had 100 ETH on your wallet, but it said you had only three. But maybe it could also send you a wrong transaction to sign, or it could send you, etc. So this is very, very, very dangerous to interact with the blockchain, going through untrusted RPCs. And so that's why we're building Beerus. Beerus is basically a very, very core and important piece of the core infrastructure of the Starknet protocol and blockchain, and that is eventually going to be integrated to Argent X, Bravos, all the DApps, and most of the protocol of Starknet, to be able to secure all the transaction. Because basically, Beerus is going to locally verify all the data that you receive, all the transactions that you sign, and is going to have this discussion between Starknet and Ethereum to make sure that all the data that you're exchanging and that you're signing and that you're using is actually valid. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome, Paul, and really looking forward to playing with Beerus. And I also believe it will be something very attractive for people who are not very technical, like myself. And because we need something easier than running a full node, in order to experiment the benefits and the decentralization related benefits that using a light client would bring to us. So can wait for playing with it. And yeah, maybe we didn't say you didn't say in your explanation that the Beerus Starknet client was inspired by Helios, a Rust light client developed by A16Z, and it also uses it, as far as understood. So why do you think Helios was a game changer for the light client blockchain infrastructure? And I suppose you played with it a bit before starting contributing on Beerus. So what were your first impressions after running into Helios, and why did you choose to make it play a role in Beerus as well?
Yeah, one of the reasons that we need actually a light client, because everything is integrated to Beerus. Because the infrastructure of Beerus is basically, we're connecting to a full node on Starknet, and we're connecting to Helios, which is a Ethereum light client, for access to Ethereum. Why? Because as I said, uh, Starknet full node is an untrusted RPC. You can get one from Infura or Alchemy, but you don't know actually these nodes. You are querying nodes, but you don't actually know. Or even Argent X or Bravos, when you're making transactions, you don't really know um, what nodes are actually processing these transactions or sending data, which means that it's untrusted and it's unsecure. And so, why do we need a connection to the Ethereum blockchain through Helios? Because, as I said, we can verify the whole state of Starknet on the Ethereum blockchain. So we can verify actually that the data that was sent back by Starknet full node to you is actually what is posted on Ethereum. So if it matches the data that has been posted on Ethereum, and if yes, then it means that it's actually correct. And this is one of the reason why we're using Helios. Our it's our access to the Starknet state on Ethereum, which is the valid state of Starknet, because it has been validated on Ethereum. And so this is the main reason. And a second reason is because it's written in Rust. So it enables us to stay WASM and OSTT compatible. It's also very fast. It's built by A16Z and also by Ncitron. and Citron, which is, I think, a very good engineer that works with A16Z and that leads the development of Helios. And what is very great is that he's a really cool guy, and I can just ping him and discuss with him if there's a problem on his repo or if we want to integrate something new or things like that. So we can have like very fast evolution of the project using Helios. So yeah, these are the two main reasons. So an open door to Ethereum, and the second one it's written in Rust, just like us, and also in Citron. So I think these are the three main reasons.
Well understood, Paul. After enjoying, such a very good explanation of what light clients are, of what Beerus is, and and also how it relates with the Helios Rust client developed by A16Z. I'd like to know, what does the future hold for Beerus? We also know that, we're approaching the Quantum Leap Starknet version and also the Regenesis. How will it benefit from from the Quantum Leap Starknet version? And also, speaking from my own technical ignorance, I would like to know, does Beerus relate somehow with Cairo? I mean, is there something written in Cairo in Beerus, or it is a piece of infrastructure where you don't need to write in Cairo and you need to write it just in Rust?
Yeah, very good question. Um, so for now, we don't need to write anything in Cairo in the sense that Cairo will mostly be used as a smart contract language on the Starknet blockchain. But it's not only for the blockchain. So a lot of other companies are going to use Cairo for a lot of other utilities, just in the sense that Cairo is a provable language and it's not specific to the blockchain. Now, for now, we don't use it. We might need it in the future. Um, I'm asking myself. I would be curious, but I'm not sure if we will need it. But it's possible that in the future we find a use for Kai. Now, what holds the future for Beerus? In my opinion, it's mostly integration. Now we are approaching slowly. We're working towards a version one of Beerus, so a stable version that people are going to be able to install and stuff like that. And then slowly we're going to go towards integration, which means that integrations in IoT, so on phones and on on smartwatches and on browsers and on different things like that, but also integrations in wallets. So we're talking with Argent X. Potentially in the future, we'll talk with Bravos and other very, very big actors of the Starknet ecosystem. So this is the future, in my opinion, of Beerus is basically the integration in these different key infrastructure projects of the ecosystem, and the goal of this is what I call abstraction, is that the end user doesn't really need to know that he's using Beerus, or because the value in doesn't come uh, in the fact that you're running a full node. Nobody really cares about that. What people care about is decentralization, it's security, it's all of those things. But you need to extract the complexity of, oh, you need to download the binary, and then you need to run Docker, and then you need to run it on Docker. Like it's too complex. If you're not an engineer, you can't really do it. It's really difficult. So our goal as engineers is to make it as simple as possible for everybody. And to make it as simple as possible, we just need to integrate it in other pieces of infrastructure that are already very user friendly. But you need to reap the benefits from it, which means that if we integrate Beerus in Argent X, for example, which is the most used wallet on Starknet right now, then it will just mean that Argent X is 1,000 times more secure, but you won't see a difference. Just it will be a lot better, and the UX will be improved, and the security will be improved, etc. But you won't really feel it. But us will know, and everybody will know that they are a lot secure, more secure on the Starknet blockchain. So that's what we want. Not add complexity, but add benefits without the complexity. So that's what we're working towards, to be able to integrate Beerus in all these key infrastructures project of the Starknet ecosystem.
Amazing. So you basically want to make Beerus invisible, and by integrating Beerus also on some very well used apps, dApps like Argent X, as you said, people will be able to enjoy the decentralization of Beerus without having to know about it in the first place, and to deal with technical aspects as well. So basically, Beerus is introducing an additional layer of decentralizations to the dApps that will adopt it on Starknet. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. It's bringing security, decentralization, um, and yeah, we want to make it invisible. We just want the end user to reap the benefits, but not have the overhead of the complexity of needing to run a node and things like that. We'll basically run a node on your computer, on your browser, in your Argentex wallet, for example, and it will mean that everything is a lot more secure for you, and it's just a lot better, and you don't even need to think about it.
Awesome. So, Paula, as we're gradually coming to the end of our Star Cafe session. I'd like to ask the audience, if there's anybody from you guys who would like to ask Paul for a question, please feel free to send a request to speak, and I'll be glad to grant it to you. In the meanwhile, I would also like to ask Paul for the last question on my side. But before doing that, I'd like to thank some of you guys, live listeners, who took some of your precious time to be here. We have Exodus, Hatun from Erdal, Turkey, David Kanu from Starknet Congo. They did a Starknet meetup last Saturday. Paul was also a speaker there, if I remember well. And then, yeah, shout out to Venesoft, Kodawari, Anna Maria Pola, Bazat, Luis, Darwin, the Powers of Thailand, and all the others. And having said that, so Paul, let's go to the last question. Um, I mean, I'd like to ask you about Timu. I don't know if the pronunciation is right, and the Sol du Temps, which is a kind of hacker house, as far as understood, that will take place during HCC in Paris, but there will also be a kind of pop-up city experiment in the next months. So I'm very curious to know what Temu is, what does the Sol du Temps consist on, and related info.
Yeah, sure. Um, so ZamU is a new initiative that we launched with different people, some in the Startnet ecosystem. So, with, for example, Danilo Kim, which is one of the founders of Kakarot ZKVM, and other people like Sun and V, which is our designer, and Sun, which is our lead operational. Uh, and so he was, for example, in Entalpha Ventures, which is one of the biggest funds in China, the creators of Bitmain, the Ant miners, and things like that. So he organized a lot of hacker houses for them. And so we really have this love for organizing events for engineers and for the Web3 ecosystem just in general. Because we believe that there's a beauty and that there's a lot of innovation that comes from physical interactions. We believe that human beings are deeply social, that they need this social interaction to be able to thrive and to just be happy, have fun, and to innovate. And you cannot just create and be good just by being alone in your house on your computer all the time and on GitHub repos coding. No, you actually need to see people, to discuss with them, to exchange, to love, to live, to love. And so that's what we want to build through Zamil, which is our new initiative. We want to give this opportunity to as many people as possible to participate in great Web3 events. But we don't only want to make events, we want to make life experiences. So it's not only like putting 10 people in a house and coding all day, oh, hackathon, hackathon. No, it's like, okay, what are we going to do all together what is our mission? Is it like serving the local community? uh, is it like helping people? Is it building meaningful apps and meaningful value to serve like the needs of people in X or Y countries that we're going to host events in? And so that's our goal. And after, it's also like, oh, going out, having fun, helping the local community through service work. I don't know, all these things that makes an event memorable. We want to have it in our events. So it's not only about coding, but about life experiences and making something full. And so we're having at least 4 events around each CC. So we're having the Salle du Temps, which is a 15 to 20 people hacker house with some of the top engineers in the Starknet ecosystem that were invited to this event. And we're basically inviting them to reward them, to thank them for their incredible contributions to the ecosystem, for building such a great thing as Starknet. And what we want to do is basically push the ecosystem forward by building a meritocratic and by building an excellence mindset. Because what you see is that, oh wow, this guy is so good. Look, oh wow, he's getting rewarded. He's getting invited to this such great event and stuff like that. And after, it motivates you. It's like, oh, if I'm good too, I can get there and I'll be invited and they will take care of me and stuff like that. Because that's life, you know. You need to work really hard, you need to be the best, and you need to be motivated to become that, you know. And we want to push that, because if you're doing great, man will reward you because you deserve it. But if you don't work hard, then why would you deserve to be rewarded, right? But we want to give the keys to everybody to be able to be great. So we're also teaching people, we're also sharing knowledge. One of our key values in Zemio is what we call flow. It's like flow of knowledge, flow of opportunities, flow of wealth, flow of contacts, things like that. So it's also like collaborating with governments, collaborating with local communities, collaborating with all these people to enable them to learn. So we take experts in fields from the Starknet ecosystem, from the Ethereum Foundation, from all these fields, AI, ZK, etc. And we teach to people that want to learn. And so we give the keys to everybody to excel, and then we push them to excel, and then we reward them for excelling. And we think that through that, we build a very virtuous cycle. And so we have Salle du Temps that is starting in 2 days. We have a Cairo workshop. Also, we have uh, a football tournament between all the Starknet projects like Madara, Starknet ID, Beerus, Kakarot, Pragma, and others. And we're also going to have um, we are going to have last event, which is what we call the Super Demo Day, which is a 300 people event on the 11th in Paris. So if there's anybody here that is going to be in Paris on the 11th of July before ETC, then definitely ping me and I'll send you the link so you can get a free ticket to the event. And join us on the 11th. We're going to present all these incredible projects and all the things that came out, the innovations from the Saluton, and it's going to be a great laugh. And then we're also building a 2 month hacker house in Thailand. Just after that, in September, in August and September, um, and yeah, a 2 month hacker house in Thailand, collaborating with Ethereum Foundation and the Thai government and things like that to support all these people and create incredible things. So yeah, that's about it about Zemu. And yeah, can't wait to organize all of that.
That's great, Paul. I mean, I'm very excited about these kind of initiatives. We really need them, and I really like the vision behind TEMU. And I'm sure that all the devs, all the people that will take part, sorry, in all these initiatives, will have a great time. And looking forward to seeing also the innovative ideas that will come out, of the brainstorming that will take place in the Salle de Champ. Yeah, regarding also the football tournament, yeah, that looks promising. Unfortunately, I will be in Paris only for a couple of days in order to attend Starknet CC. But next time I'll try my best to be in on the top 5 or top 11, depending on what kind of football are you going to play. But yeah, that sounds exciting. However, yeah, we've come to the end of our Star Cafe. I think we had an amazing session. I really enjoyed, Paul Henry explaining about the Beerus Starknet Lightclient, and also about the Temius initiatives. And yeah, having said that, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the live listeners. It's been a pleasure having you here. Shout out to Calculator, Exodus, Atun, David, Starknet Africa, our big friends from Starknet Africa, who also played a role in organizing Starknet Congo. It's amazing to see African community, a Starknet African community, flourishing in Africa. There's a great potential there. Looking forward to speaking to you guys in the near future. Would love to have you here at the Star Cafe. And obviously, a big thank you to all the live listeners and to all the others who listen to this Star Cafe podcast. That will also be uploaded on both YouTube and Spotify. We've begun uploading episodes on there as well. So very excited about that. So thanks a lot, Paul, for coming to the Star Cafe. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Yeah, it was a very great pleasure for me. It was a pleasure also to collaborate with you. We've been discussing for quite some time. You're such a nice guy, so I'm very glad to be able to participate in the Start Cafe. It's getting pretty famous now. I think rightfully, because you're doing a very enormous and very great job in the ecosystem, and I have very positive echoes from different people in the ecosystem. So I'm glad for you, and well done for all the work that you're doing, and can't wait to meet you in around ECC very soon. So thank you to everybody that came, and yeah, I can't wait to meet all of you guys, and let's keep Starknet strange, and let's keep building this incredible Starknet ecosystem.
Absolutely, Paul. I really appreciate that. I'm about to cry. Don't make me cry. I'm kidding. And having said that, thanks a lot once again. See you in Paris for Starknet CC. And so, guys, it's time to close. Remember to share the Starknet vibe, and see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye, Paul. Take care.
Bye.